right, let's talk Star Wars. So background right now, I'm at my parents' place. I'm literally leaving for New Jersey. My flight boards in like an hour, so gotta hurry this up. Woo! Okay, so saw Star Wars last night, and we're just gonna do the first part. There's gonna be like, there's no real spoilers. I'm just gonna give you like overall overview type of how I feel about it. So just kind of to start off, a lot of people want to know how it fares compared to Force Awakens. I'm gonna say that Force Awakens feels a lot cleaner, like as a whole from start to finish. It just kind of meshes all very well together. And Last Jedi has some kind of weaker moments, but then it has a lot of really strong moments. So it kind of goes all over the place. But overall, as a film, I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people don't. And the other question is, like, as a Star Wars fan, am I gonna like it? And that is really up to you, because my old manager, who we were both big Star Wars fans, he's mad. He's angry. He literally texted me saying, I forgave Phantom Menace halfway through this movie. So he's really not happy, but I personally had a great time with it. I thought it was really exciting. There was a lot of really like standout moments, a lot of really good battle scenes, and honestly, I expect that. Rian Johnson, the director, he did Looper. He's very good with those action scenes, and I usually find that that's where a lot of these movies fall flat, is when it gets down to the action time. I think that unfortunately they almost seem like they were trying to do a little bit too much of what Marvel does by like weaving that comedy in. There might have been like a little bit too much of that in this movie, just in parts where it really didn't need it. But that's like nitpicking stuff. Unfortunately for some people, that'll like completely pull them out of the movie. But for me, I thought it was a good time. I enjoyed it. So I guess what I'm saying is you're basically gonna have to decide yourself if you like it or not. So obviously if you like Star Wars, you should see it anyways. Now let's get to a couple more of like the bread and butter stuff. If you've seen it, this is where like we'll kind of talk a little bit more about the stuff that I really like, stuff that I didn't like so much. So if you don't want any spoilers, this is probably the point where I would click off. I guess a little bit before that, I thought all the acting was really good. I thought everybody played their parts well. I'd recently rewatched the prequels, and my God, Hayden Christensen. When I'm a kid, it didn't seem bad, but like, first of all, his lines are terrible, and then he just delivers them terribly. So there's none of that in this. Like, everything seems like it's acted really well. So I'm gonna give them all thumbs up for that. The cast all around was really strong, and including like the original people, I feel like they've just gotten better over the years, which is good. So let's get into some of those specifics here. So there's that whole scene. This is spoilers, by the way. This is spoilers, so click off if you don't want to have anything ruined. So that whole scene where the bay gets blown up, and like every like Akbar and all of the commanders get kind of like blasted into space, and so does Leia. And then she's just kind of floating there, and then manages to like use the Force to pull herself back to the spaceship. I thought that was kind of dumb. I think that if they were gonna do something like that, she should have been able to save herself before she got to space and started crystallizing. Like, I get that they wanted to make it so that she was kind of like sick a little bit for that part of the movie, but they end up bringing her back anyways. And honestly, if you kind of survived an explosion, even if you used the Force to stop yourself from being propelled in space, you're probably gonna need some medical attention. So they still could have done that. I don't know if they were really trying to build the tension of people thinking that she was going to pass away at that moment, because unfortunately Carrie Fisher has passed away, but that didn't really pay out like that. So I feel like that itself was kind of a weak scene. Then you have Porg. Everybody was waiting to see what the hell a Porg was going to be, or what Porg was going to be. Basically just an island creature, basically just something that they could use to sell toys to kids. I thought it was kind of unnecessary to blow them up the way they are. I think it was kind of cute, kind of funny. Might have overused it a little tiny bit. I honestly think that the battle scene between Rey and Kylo, or Ben, whatever you want to call him, was probably one of the best battle scenes in any Star Wars movie. I thought that was choreographed really well, and I don't know if that was specifically due to like cinematography choices, or if Rian Johnson just kind of had that vision and played it out. I thought that was really good. My favorite battle scenes in the whole series are actually from the prequels, because they could just do more with the technology. So like my favorite scene is like the Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul scene. Like, I absolutely adore that whole section of Phantom Menace. Was just done so incredibly well. But I think this really goes to toe with that. Like, and I really like that they kind of take some of the lore where people are supposed to have different battle styles. So obviously Rey is kind of self-taught. She kind of has her own little flourish thing, and Kylo's just got this such this aggressive stance, and like I just really like that it kind of represents the fact that, yeah, these are people being trained in like a sword skill. Different swordsmen have different sword skill, and I really like that kind of comes to play. Probably gonna forget things. I had like a bunch of thoughts and now I'm losing it, so I'm kind of go step by step. I think that the person, I can't remember her name right now, but the person who took over for Leia probably could have let people know what her plan was, so that people weren't just freaking out, because when you know you have somebody like Poe Dameron, who's a hothead, who's gonna want to try to save the day, just tell him your plan so he doesn't, you know, he kind of messed things up. Poe got a lot of people killed. He was trying to save the day, and if things had gone well, they probably would have been really well off. But if he had just known what the plan was, he probably wouldn't have ruined things, and it would have been okay. So like I get why obviously you've got to add more conflict to a movie, and I guess it's kind of nice to have it so that like the good guy doesn't always manage to save the day. I was weird in that one moment. I was like, man, you know, sometimes I still enjoy watching this, but I know what's gonna happen. Like they're gonna make it just in time, and that doesn't end up being what happens in this. It's like they learned from Rogue One and they let really bad things happen. Like people died in this. A lot of people died in this. In terms of like Luke being alone on an island, you know, I kind of get that whole feel. I've never been a huge Luke Skywalker fan. I'll put that out there right now. You know, he's a whiny bitch in the first handful of movies and kind of comes around by return. But like, if I had been younger when I saw those movies, I'd probably be fine with him. But my parents weren't Star Wars fan. My first Star Wars movie was Phantom Menace, and this is where a lot of you are probably clicking off. But I like Luke Skywalker now. It's just when I was older watching him, I was like, and I don't know why I didn't think, like I know Anakin's a whiny bitch, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't explain it. But he's obviously, he's pretty good, and I get it. He's all like scared of like the dark side of the Force and everything. And I know a lot of people probably had issue with like the corporeal Yoda coming to him from the Force. I thought maybe he looked a little bit too solid, but I thought it was good, and they've been talking about that in the movies for ages. That's something that's been in the movies, that like people that are very strong in the Force can kind of come back and look on people that, you know, are like, you know, that they have that strong connection with. You know, it happens at the end of Jedi, so that's totally normal. This is just the first time that they've like gone to that actual conversation, which I don't think is that out of character. For some reason in my theater, when that other person who took over for Leia, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, totally like just, she goes like light speed into the destroyer. I thought that was great. My theater laughed when it went to the dead silence part, but I thought that was like really well done. I thought that scene was played out really well, and then it goes completely silent, and then the explosion happens. Like I thought that was done really well personally. I like the fact that as long as it doesn't pull a weird thing where this isn't actually the truth. I like the fact that Rey's parents are nobody. I hate this tendency in movies to try to over-connect absolutely everything. Like in you know, the fact that like Yoda was friends with Chewbacca at the end of like Revenge of the Sith. Like I don't think you need that all the time. I feel like sometimes people just go overboard with that interconnectivity. So I kind of like the fact that she's just super powerful and not at all connected to the previous story, which I think is also why I'm kind of okay with the fact that like Luke let himself go with the Force. Like a lot of people probably thought that was stupid, maybe didn't agree with it, but it was just like he'd achieved everything and he had accomplished everything that he needed to do. He provided the distraction that he needed to help those people move on. He didn't actually let someone kill him, so there's not that weird sense of like accomplishment from Kylo thinking that he defeated his old master. It's literally like, I've literally transcended this earth, onto the Force I go, and now the new crop of people can take over, because unfortunately, even though, you know, Leia doesn't pass away in this movie, we know Carrie Fisher is no longer with us, and they said that they weren't going to do any of the weird like CG stuff for her, so she's gone. We know she's gone. So this is really just like the start of a new era. Everybody's building in. I really like Rey as a character. Some people don't, but I'm very excited to see what she does. And yeah, like I said, yeah, I'm very excited. I really like that battle scene that they had. That battle scene on the bridge, it was so good. And like when they take out Snoke, and I'm glad that he wasn't really the main villain, because I thought he was stupid in the last one. So glad that he's not the main villain. Glad it's not like just a rehash of Palpatine. So that, I thought that was really good. And you just had this moment being like, is he gonna be good now? Or is there gonna be like a new bad guy? But then it just really like molds together where they could have been this good bond, and like Rey has to be like, no, please don't do this. Please don't do this. So I like that. I think it's gonna be really good. So that is probably gonna do it for today's video, mainly because I have to go catch a plane. I'm sure there's a lot more thoughts that I can go through. If you guys have any other thoughts down below, I will definitely be having discussions with people down there. I just wanted to kind of give you my quick thoughts on the movie. I personally thought it was good. I really enjoyed it. I'll probably have to see it again to get some more concrete thoughts, but let me know what you thought down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a fantastic day. We'll catch you all later.